Lee A. Cattanach is the only Eastern male athlete to garner track and field All-America recognition as many as 3 times in running events, achieving those honors at 800 meters. In the outdoor 800 as a senior, Lee won the Division III New England title and followed up with a 4th place finish at the New England All-Division meet. Indoors that year, Lee won 2 Little East titles, was voted Little East Runner of the Year. In 2014, Lee won the Little East Cross Country title, was named Little East Cross Country Runner of the Year, and qualified for the NCAA Nationals.
Good evening. My name is Cooper Goslin, and I have the distinct honor of speaking on behalf of former teammate Lee Cattanach and his legacy at Eastern. One of my first impressions of Lee came after the first cross-country race we ran together in 2014. I was a freshman, and Lee was a junior coming off a long, injury-driven 2-year hiatus. While easing back into training, Lee had been practicing on his own and had sat out the season's first 3 meets. As the team congregated back at the team tent post-race, swapping war stories, someone built up the courage to ask Lee how his race went. He mentioned his time, and with a casual shrug mentioned that he felt good during the race. It wasn't until a couple minutes later that Coach Menezes informed us he had finished second in a field of over 250 runners. It was at that moment I realized that Lee was all business and a leader by example, and that he had his sights set on much loftier goals that season. Lee would proceed to win the next 3 races, which included the Little East Championship, and placed 20th in the New England meet, becoming the first Eastern runner to qualify for cross-country nationals in 38 years. He followed up with an indoor season that included a Little East individual title, 2nd place finish in New England, and a 7th place finish in the 800 at nationals, which netted him All-American honors. Extended injuries continued to plague Lee throughout his career, but they did not stop him from 2 more All-American finishes in the 800, 2 more Little East individual titles, and a New England championship. Like many great athletes, Lee's impressive achievements and accolades outshone the work that made it all possible. What you won't find in the record books are the countless hours Lee spent doing monotonous rehab and recovery routines in the trainer's room and addressing current or future injury concerns. Since nobody could match his pacing, Lee was also forced to practice alone, which meant that he never benefited from teammates pushing him through the lactic acid at the end of an interval or just making the long miles go by easier. Lee's training was 100% on himself. He never had to be told what to do, he just did it. He embodied the grind and silence mentality and truly let his results speak for themselves. The resiliency and self-drive he exhibited to work through injuries and get himself back onto the national caliber performance level set an infectious standard for our team that we all strove for. What also made Lee unique was his versatility. While he focused primarily on the 800, he excelled at every event. The ability to qualify for cross-country nationals in the 8K, a 5-mile race, and then go All-American in the 800, a half-mile race, is a range that's rarely seen at such a high level. In conclusion, I can say with confidence that Lee is the best Eastern runner of all time.
It's good to be enthusiastic and go out and run your heart out every single time you go, but he really was someone who was very careful in planning out long-term goals and knowing when to run hard and when to run easy and how to let your body recover and how to position yourself for those big important races.
He just knew what he wanted on the track. He knew the times he wanted to hit, and he was going to do anything he could to qualify, to get to nationals, to get the times and the records he wanted. There was nothing he wouldn't do.
He was very, very focused and very driven to make it to that national meet and really compete at a high level, and he planned out his seasons and his years and his time to meet that goal of his.
Some of the things that set Lee apart from a lot of the teammates I had was his lone wolf mentality, his dedication on and off the track. He just carried himself with a lot of confidence.
Lee probably was genetically gifted to be fast and have that foot speed, but it was a lot of hard work to get himself fit enough to perform in the races he was running and to be in cross country and to be in like the 800 meter and the 15.
He did so much extra work that it really showed, especially, to be a runner from 10K all the way down to the 800. You have to do a lot of specialty work in between your races.
He had to be very driven and very meticulous to put in all the long hours of training when he couldn't run to actually execute on that talent.
He would come around that corner in the last, 150 meters of the 1500, and you can tell that was all his training right there was leading to that little moment. It was special to see, and special to see that he was that consistent with his workouts, with his time, and then once he got to where he wanted to, he just let it all out on the track.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to present as a 2025 inductee into the Eastern Connecticut State University Athletics Alumni Hall of Fame, Lee A. Cattanach.